Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Gachiakuta, Season 1.
Yep, Gachiakuta, Season 1, Episode 8. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. Sage, we're back for more Anime Night in the dojo. And last week we had Collected Mad. Just Group Mad Face. Collective Group Mad Face. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call it. It was there. It was, it was like a Backstreet Boys album cover if they were all pissed off. So that was something. But, got manhole, portals. Shit's getting weird, man. It's just all over the place. People are being named after mythological beings, and Jabber's getting manhandled by someone half his size. There's just stuff's all over the place. But we get the feeling that he's going to be a recurring cockroach. Maybe we get more on Kathani's power at some point based on various factors that we talked about last week, so we'll have to see what's up with her. But for now, we got to deal with the aftermath of a potential, probable, maybe death. Yeah. Well, last time I didn't write a character off, a bunch of people got mad at me, and I don't know why. I confirm my kills. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Just give it a minute. If they are dead, then okay. But jeez.
Yeah, sometimes they are just dead. Other times you get things like freaking Cinder at the end of Volume 4.
Yeah.
Everyone was damn sure that she was dead, just for her to literally be like the first scene of the next season is that she's still alive.
Yeah. So until it's like outright confirmed, I'm not going to write anybody off, because you never know what random plot device could show up to save even a random tertiary character. So you never know. I'm not going to be the freaking sports talking heads that sit here and talk about how this pitcher is going to be a surefire Hall of Famer 1 year, and 3 years from now they're never talking about it again, and they you bring it up to them. It's like, oh yeah, that was whatever. It's like, yeah, you were very, very sure about that though, man. Like you staked your reputation on it. Now nobody's calling you on your bullshit. It happens every day. It's no different than every year when the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. How many years have we been doing that? Over 30 now? Yeah, that's what I thought. And it's going to continue. So maybe you guys should stop saying it for your own sakes. So anyway, as for this, maybe we'll get...
it's full Archer. They have to keep saying it, or the collective hangover will kill them.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe at some point they'll realize that their team has been mediocre at best for 30 friggin' years, and they're not the best team in football. You know what I mean? It's crazy. That's a whole other discussion. But anyway, maybe I get one of the big bosses of either side. We still have to get the cleaner boss at some point. Whatever happened to them? Just stepped out. Whatever.
Yeah, we need either them to show up or someone else to step in, because once again, Rudo's still not officially part of the cleaners.
Yep. So something's got to happen along those lines at some point here, but for now, debriefing and seeing if we get a death or not. So yeah, as always, the reaction is down there in the comments and or the description over on Patreon. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the edit here on YouTube for the discussion and review. So we're going to push some buttons and get going here. So here goes some. Well, alrighty then. To all you naysayers out there, I say suck it, nerds. Chris is alive. How about them apples? So, I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week with the fact that we didn't really know who that healer, what her capabilities were, and we got a little bit more on her in this episode, so that was cool. We got Rudo morning before he needed to be, because so the hilarity that was there. Age mentioned it during the reaction as well, that if your healer has not really a lot to do, that's generally a good thing. If your healer's overtaxed, that means you guys are getting up and need to get your shit together. You know what I mean? But as they mentioned, she's their only healer, so they might be a rarity, just like that group that was mentioned that is like food connoisseurs. So,
Well, yeah, as we've seen, like givers can be basically anything power-wise. So yeah, like their whole thing is that they collect givers that have any sort of powers that could be potentially useful for producing food, since they're living in a wasteland, so food isn't exactly easy to come by.
right, something we talked about before. Like if somebody has like a water purifier, something like that. You know what I mean? Cool. So if you're to the point where you have that kind of stuff, then you can start making stuff like donuts and lollipops and candy, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, sugar's generally pretty hard to cultivate.
Yep. If they have chocolate, that's right up there with the pain they have to cultivate as well. So, it's just one of those things where
most of those tropical freaking foods are very difficult to cultivate, especially in a uncontrolled environment like a wasteland.
Yep. So they got some pretty impressive powers on the food back end there with that group. So maybe we'll see more of them at some point. We'll have like a Food Wars episode or something. You know what I mean? But either way, this guy just walked in like he owned the place. Can you guys believe that? Just the most nonchalant boss reveal of all time. Just walks in the room and there he is. Yeah, you gotta appreciate entrances like that. Just walks in the room silently, appears, is there. There you go. So the mystery will continue with that guy because we don't really, obviously, nobody knows. As we mentioned at the end of the reaction, there is nobody knows what the deal is with his instrument. So that's going to be kind of a mystery for a bit.
Yeah.
He's probably another series holder like the Raider boss, because they had the Watchmen series, just like Rudo apparently, same logo. So
yeah, like Engine, when he was first trying to introduce the boss, specifically mentioned that everyone knows he's a giver, but no one knows what his instrument is, and it's just kind of a established rule at this point is don't try to figure out what the boss's instrument is. You're not going to figure it out.
Yep. So that'll probably be a big mystery for a while until, it's revealed and it's really cool or something. Remember when Genryusai used his freaking Shikai for the first time? That was a pretty big deal. So it's maybe not on level with that, but it'll probably be one of those like big reveals at the end. In grandiose fashion. You know what I mean? So probably won't be a season 1 thing, I'd imagine. So gonna be waiting on that one for a bit, I'm sure. But either way, at least we've established that probably not the same guy as the Raider boss, because different VAs, and well, this guy's black. The other guy was not. There you go. This guy also has sweet dreads. The other guy did not. So unless he's like Loki or something and can change appearance and is playing multiple sides of the field for some reason, probably 2 different people. So
yeah, that was the only thing that I could think of that could possibly be a connection between the 2 of them. Really, is just that they're probably both series holders, and if there is some sort of double agenting going on, it's probably because one of the 2 of them's tools allows them to either like puppet or disguise themselves to control the other group.
Right. But this guy's name didn't sound like even mythological adjacent. So, there's usually like weird context clues like that out there. Maybe if you like rejumble the letters in his name or something, maybe something that could be grasping at a straw way too early in the series. So we'll leave that alone for a minute.
Yeah, as it stands, I don't think there's any real connection to them besides they're probably both series holders, but and chances are they probably have some history together, seeing as generally speaking, rival bosses usually have some sort of history together, even if they don't necessarily know that they're know who each other is initially.
Right. So that'll be a thing when we get there. That's a down the road thing. This folklore about the woman living in no man's land and watching people come and go and fall and stuff like that. That's gonna be a thing that comes up. Obviously, Rudo wanted to immediately go out there and chase her down and find her and get his answers immediately, but you kind of got to figure your shit out first, man. You're just gonna go and die. You know, it's like, no way, man. I hit level 20. We're going straight into Molten Core. It's like, no.
That's what I did.
So
that's literally what I did for getting back in freaking original vanilla WoW. I was level 26 paladin, and I went and got the freaking flight points in freaking suddenly drawing a blank on the name of the zone, but the one around Molten Core.
Right, yeah. Searing Gorge, Burning Steps, those
Yeah.
places. Big pain in the ass for all the WoW player, old school WoW players out there. But yeah, it's Rudo's trying to jump to like episode like 35 already. He's got to give it a minute, man. Eat some more candy. You know, become like Sakamoto and throw your weight around, literally. So
Yeah, you got to go to China before you can meet the Lady in Black.
yeah, so it's just one of those things where they did the whole like 6 hours earlier thing, and then it ended up just being for a stupid gag, which is pretty funny way to go about something like that. Because I mean, it was just a big, you know, fat blob of something coming out a door in front of Zonka, so we thought, hey, it might be something whatever. But no, it's just Rudo eating too many calories. So either way, not really a huge amount more to really say about this. I mean, the graffiti in the background was fantastic. Everybody was able to see all the like backdrops and stuff like that. It was probably maybe mostly done by that guy that we saw a couple episodes ago. That was like his giver power is like artistic, whatever, and he was, you know, doing the graffiti and stuff like that we got to talk about in that episode. But you can kind of see it in the backdrop of most of these places. So
yeah, no, we keep establishing that givers can be just about anything. They don't have to be fighters, and there are plenty of givers around that are just kind of doing their own thing.
Yep. So either way, tour of the place. We even got the tour of the pisser. We got, you know, we talked about this a little bit at the end of the reaction. That group that works with, you know, people who do food related stuff. And if we're at the point where we're making chocolate and sugar, doing pretty good if you're past the basics of, you know, clean water and stuff like that. But, you know, they've existed down here for quite a while. So it's probably just become more of a thing of, you know, while they're still dealing with all the trash and stuff like that, the majority of their the other stuff is, you know, not a steaming pile of nothing in the wasteland. So if they're able to cultivate stuff like that, then they're probably doing reasonably well. So at least on the food end, obviously, if you can have like one like major luxury, it may as well be food, right? Because it's literally in the name. It's comfort food. So
yeah, like Engine mentioned that's like probably one of their most developed things down on the surface, and that like that's everyone's go-to vice is food.
Yep, because there's probably not a whole heck of a lot of other random bits of entertainment or anything. So you might as well eat. Drown yourself in the sorrows of your calories.
Yeah, I mean, like he said, they probably eat better than up on the sphere at this point because of just how much they've developed their food production and the fact that they have literal magic to do it with.
Right, and for all we know, they definitely don't have that up on the sphere, and they probably just eat nutrient paste on the rich side, right?
Well, the rich side, from Rue was saying, do have like desserts and stuff like that, but we also know that, you know, they're very split in that a lot of their population is just the poor dystopia, whereas only there's the handful of rich people who get to have all the good stuff.
Right. So either way, other than that, we got the other major thing was, figuring out Ruo's power, that kind of thing, what he's able to do with it, allowing these pieces of equipment to like go out in a blaze of glory, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much. Maybe he can fix the Crunchyroll player. I mean, do you think Rudo can fix the Crunchyroll player from going out every 12 minutes? Because that'd be impressive. Just let it explode and it can reform and do not crap. That would be fantastic. I'm just saying. It's just, it just gets old, you guys. It's just, I'm obviously here. You know what I mean? It's not like my computer's idle. We're sitting here talking about it. I'm moving through the episode. Obviously, we're not, watching it again. I'm just talking about it in stills like I always do. But come on. You know what I mean? It's super aggravating. Obviously, if you're moving around, it's like, well, if I wanted the damn thing to be reset, I'd take it to the freaking end here and reset. You know what I mean? If I was going to watch the episode again immediately. So, I don't know what this freaking deal is. I've never had a problem with like any other players that do this, but it's just like, oh man, you've been paused for X amount of time, so clearly we need to save resource. I don't know. It's aggravating. But that aside, sky's the limit for Rudo if he can, even take stuff like this. I mean, we saw the talisman. These things are relatively on the same level as that. This was a I forgot what those things are called. They're like the triangles that you use to like draft and measure stuff for like blueprints and stuff like that.
It's a square.
Yeah. And then just, like this pot, something simple, So
So I was kind of already talking about that before with the talisman, where it seems like the whole thing is, once again, he fixes things and lets them achieve their purpose. So like the more actual anima and purpose they have, the stronger they are. So like the talisman, despite being a significantly smaller and less actually functional object than any of these, still end up being a much bigger deal just because Chris had put so much importance on it and it had a distinct purpose, whereas these are all just kind of discarded, very simple tools that most people wouldn't even bother thinking about.
Right. So either way, we got a little bit more on the backlash, that kind of thing. We'll probably explore more of that at some point when we get more into the series stuff. And the end bit here is, what do you think he's going to name his gloves? That's the question. Everybody has a name for their instrument, as they showed off their 3 characters here. So Rudo has to name his gloves, and maybe that'll help with the rebound or something. I mean, we'll just have to see if naming has any kind of effect on his power or their capability. That so.
Well, yeah, as has been explained by Engine and some of the others, like the whole thing is like the better connection you have to the object, the stronger the object. But also, what Engine was kind of saying here, the stronger the object, the harder it is to control necessarily, and more likely you are to get rebound.
Right.
So you have to kind of, it's a balancing act of, you want to strengthen the object, but you also want to refine your control of the object so that you don't end up just overloading yourself.
Yep. So again, that's why you don't run off into no man's land to the border or whatever and try to find the mysterious woman and immediately get yourself killed without knowing what the hell you're doing. Yes. So give it a minute. But anyway, that's all I got for this one. Reasonable enough. It was there. There was comedy, madness, clarity, random big baby character with a pacifier that stole his candy. It's got everything, right?
Who was also distinctly a giver.
Yes, absolutely. So, and then we ended on the boss of the raid, or a boss of some group of raiders, whatever. At least the boss of Jabber and Kathani's butts, and possibly several other butts, but we don't know.
Yeah, from what we know, he probably isn't the boss of the Raiders, because that was like the whole thing, was that like previously there were just bandits around who were doing their own thing. Then the Raiders are an actual like coordinated group of bandits who have like basically went and vacuumed up all of the bandit groups and either gotten rid of them or assimilated them.
Right. So either way, we've established a bunch of stuff. It's been solid for the first, third of the season here, basically. So yeah, looking forward to the next bit here, whatever it is they're going to get up to. Or they'll just be kind of like random bits of training, random, they establish, the food group. You know what I mean? They have their own, part to play. I'm sure they'll come across something to deal with them as well at some point. I'm sure there will be other various factions out there that are specialized in XYZ things that they'll come across, that kind of thing. Probably have a trash beast fight here and there, that kind of deal. So
yeah, we still have to get back to the plot thread of, an implement being the core of a trash beast.
Yep.
Which we were, based on the context, just kind of assuming it was something to do with Jabber, but then we haven't had any follow-up on that yet. And like we've had mention of the Valerian or whatever their freaking name was, the food group before, like when they first showed up in the town, and he was like talking about the burgers and stuff like that. But yeah, we get more further establishing them, and just in general, it seems like we're establishing a lot of the. Just once more again, the fact that givers can come from basically any group and have basically any power. So there are more groups of givers out there than just, the cleaners and the raiders, based on their own individual abilities and goals. Whereas the cleaners and the raiders are more of the combat-oriented groups of givers, but there are plenty of other groups of givers out there.
Yep. So definitely plenty of intrigue to be had going forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond whoever watching, we always appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo. This was Gachiakuta, Season 1, Episode 8. So have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.